Hello, my name is Mark Gregory, and this song is called Amazed. It's another one of my old 1980s songs that I'm revisiting, and I've re-recorded this one. It's about God's love, and even though this song in my life was a long time ago, nothing's changed. His love is still as strong and amazing as it ever was. We'll talk about it at the end of the song, okay?
Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you've given me. Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you give so free. And I want you to know I offer all my heart to you. 'Cause Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you've given me. Yes, Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you've given me. Lord, I come alive every time I hear your name. Lord, I come alive and my heart is an inner flame. And when I hold you close, I'm drawing all my strength from you. 'Cause Jesus, I'm alive at the mention of your name. Yes, Jesus, I'm alive at the mention of your name. When I look in the Bible, I see those words you said to me. They mean so much. They turned my life around. That was many years ago, but I still think about the day sitting in the sun, meeting you the first time. And I want you to know I offer all my heart to you. 'Cause Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you've given to me. Yes, Jesus, I'm amazed by the love you've given to me. To me.
Hi. So that song is about love, and love was something that I didn't really understand, when I became a Christian. I wrote that song in 1986. I'd been a Christian for 3 years. I'd grown up in a nice family, where we all loved each other, but nobody ever talked about it too much. With 3 boys, it was just all go in my family. There was no time for that kind of stuff. And the only life creed I ever went away with was look after number 1 and everything will be okay. And the only time I really ever started hearing about love was in pop songs from the 60s and 70s, like love grows where my rosemary goes, things like all you need is love, all those kind of things. That was what I thought love was, And it wasn't until I'd become a Christian that I kept reading about it all the time in the Bible, and it was always saying things like, God is love, and, I love you, and God loves you, and all this. And I used to think to myself, I understand. But I used to have this problem because the life creed that I'd had was look after number 1 and everything will be okay. And that had become part of my life. And subconsciously, that's what I was always thinking about all the time, even if I didn't actually think of it specifically. And so I would say to God, well, okay, you love me, but why do you love me? And he would come back at me and say, well, because I love you. And I'd say, yeah, well, that's great, but why? What is the reason you love me? Because in my mind, everything has to have a reason. And he would say, and he'd come back and say, well, it's because I am love, And I'd say, yeah, well, that's great, fantastic, but why do you love me? And you just never ever got an answer, so I put it on the back burner. Away we went, Well, fast forward a few years, I'm driving down the road with a friend of mine in his car. We're in the middle of the country in Australia. It's a really hot day outside, and we had the aircon on, and it was lovely in there. And we'd been away for a weekend to this country church where he was a part-time preacher and I was his faithful sidekick, and we'd had a great weekend. And we were driving back and he had a fridge in the front of his car and it had a great big bag of cool grapes in it, and we were nibbling on the grapes as we went, thinking, yeah, I know this sounds a bit out there, I'm sorry. By the way, this is Bruce, he's my friend. He doesn't say much, but he observes everything going on. But we were driving down the road and we came around the corner and there's a road gang working there and a bloke with a sign saying stop. So we pulled up and my mate wound the window down and started chatting to the guy. And you could feel the heat outside. It was unbelievable, And so sooner or later the guy's walkie-talkie crackled and he said, okay, you can go now. So just as we drove away, my mate reached into the fridge, grabbed the whole bag of grapes, put them through the window and said, here, mate, take these. You need them more than we do. And then, vroom, off we went. Well, the car window went up, the car cooled down, but the grapes were gone. My first instinct, harking right back to my old days, was, well, why didn't they bring their own grapes out? Seemed to me you knew you were going to be working outside all day. You knew it was going to be a hot day, wouldn't you make provision, and this is the way I used to think. And then suddenly I snapped out of it, and I thought, well, my mate, that was one small thing he could do to make their day better, and he put their needs ahead of ours. And I sort of thought, yeah, fair enough, that's fair enough. And anyway, I started thinking about the love thing, this is what love is. Love is putting somebody else first and not putting yourself first. And I started thinking about, God and Jesus. And I thought, Jesus didn't have to do what he did. According to my Bible, he could have pulled out of that any time he wanted, but he didn't. He put me and billions of other people first because he wanted to give us a chance to know God. And so he did. And he put himself through that. He didn't have to. God didn't have to sacrifice his own son so that I could have a chance to know him, and that's what love was. He wanted us to know him. He wanted to know his love. And so I sat there and suitably chastened thought, yeah, that's right. It's not about me. It's not about what I think. It's not about looking after number one. He was looking after me. And anyway, I know that's a bit strange, but that was my way of thinking. Of course, when I was 29, I'd looked in the mirror one day and I knew my life was a mess, and I couldn't really do anything about it. But I knew that looking after number one hadn't got me anywhere, and everything was not okay. And I didn't know what to do, All my relationships had gone pear-shaped because of looking after number one. All my opportunities had gone out of the window because looking after one gave me a really bad attitude. And it was then that I met Jesus, and he did come into my life and help me, which was something I really needed. And he taught me then, sitting in the car, love is putting somebody else first. It's simple, really. So, see you later. Bye.